is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. A missing vulnerable woman from Richland County has been found safe. We've been following the disappearance of 35-year-old Amber Meyer all afternoon. Amber has cerebral palsy and went missing yesterday afternoon. Her cell phone was pinged across 3 different states. Her family tells us she was found this afternoon in Vermillion, South Dakota. We'll hear from them tonight and learn more about the search for the suspect tonight on Valley News Live at 6. Here's a look at today's top 4 at 4. A man is seriously injured after police say he stole a car and crashed it into a building in downtown Fargo. The driver, 48-year-old Dexter Jefferson, was ejected from the vehicle after he crossed the Center Avenue Bridge and crashed into the Mid-America Steel building. He was taken to the hospital. Jefferson faces charges of DUI and theft of a motor vehicle. An Otter Tail County man has been sentenced to more than 3 decades in jail for killing a mother and son back in 2018. 21-year-old William Hillman was living with Denise McFadden and her adult son Dalton in Gorman Township. Police say Hillman beat them both with a large pipe wrench. According to court records, Hillman told investigators he hadn't taken his schizophrenia medication for 5 months. A judge rejected his mental illness defense and found him guilty, sentencing him to more than 30 years in prison. A man who was arrested in the George Floyd protest in downtown Fargo has been acquitted. Nagasi Berhe was found not guilty of engaging in a riot and preventing arrest. 3 police officers testified that they were ordered to arrest him after he was walking, shouting, and pumping his fist near a police line that was set up on May 30th. But none of the officers could recall exactly what he said. All officers testified that there was no evidence of him being involved in any rock throwing, bottle throwing, vandalism, or assaults. U.S. weekly jobless claim numbers hit lower than expected. First-time claims totaled 847,000. That's below the 875,000 expected by economists last week. Continuing claims were expected to hit roughly 5 million. Consumer spending is showing signs of fatigue as household spending declined for the first time in 7 months. Record-setting COVID cases and colder winter weather is thought to be driving the slowdown as unemployment numbers remain stagnant. That wraps up today's top 4 at 4. Now here's a first look at our weather with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch.
And Hutch Johnson is all smiles thanks to the fact that we have done some warming up. And no, it does not look all that hot outdoors as we have temperatures, though, that are about 10 to 20 degrees warmer than we were yesterday at this time, with the biggest warm-ups in the Northern Valley. All in all, the temperature is going in the right direction. Many of us still sitting near 20 degrees heading into the evening. It is cooler up in the Roseau and Badette area near Lake of the Woods. And the radar does show a few showers of snow from Fargo to Grand Forks and into Griggs, Steele, Trail counties as well as we head into the evening. So we've seen a few of these flurries here in the FM area. Watch for slick roads tonight because they always add an extra layer of slippery. It's breezy now. I expect our wind will slowly decrease. Temperatures slowly fall this evening in both Grand Forks and in Fargo, but we stay in the teens. I am concerned about areas of patchy dense fog and some light flurries of snow overnight. And of course, we're watching very carefully a first alert weather day and another one added on top of it now. Wednesday and Thursday both look stormy. Details in just a couple of minutes. Stacy?
Oh boy, 2 in a row. Thanks, Hutch. Well, it's been 1 week since Sanford's new vaccination center opened in Fargo. Valley News Team's Brian Sherrod has an update on its vaccine distribution plan.
After talking with Dr. Doug Griffin, he says vaccinations in the new center located in the old Gordman's building is going pretty well. Staff is continuing to vaccinate patients in Phase 1B. Now, over 1,000 patients have received the shot so far. Some good news for seniors. They can bring a support person with them as they get the shot. The support person must wear a mask at all times. Now, Sanford says they have enough staff on hand to administer the shots, but not enough shots to provide to patients. As patients get vaccinated, staff does see the peak of hospitalizations drop well below 10%. Sanford even says their staff is 70% vaccinated, with an increase on the way. Now, as I asked Dr. Griffin about students being tested as they go back to in-person learning, he had this to say.
Should there be some surveillance testing for example, athletes and some, and I think that may be a reasonable thing. I'm not sure I want to know what the interval is.
Dr. Griffin also states that he is unsure at this time how many doses they will receive in the next week's distribution. Brian Sherrod, Valley News Live.
Essentia Health and Fargo Cast Public Health will join the center in a few weeks. The next time you get a COVID test in the Fargo area, you may not have to wait as long for the results. Fargo Cast Public Health is offering rapid testing every weekday starting next month. They're teaming up with the North Dakota National Guard for rapid testing at the former Faith and Journey Lutheran Church. That's located at 650 40th Avenue East in West Fargo. Starting February 1st, testing will be held weekdays from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. The results are texted to you in 15 to 30 minutes. Pre-registration is required. A new study suggests that Pfizer's vaccine appears to work against the new COVID variants that are circulating in the U.S. Scientists engineered 3 viruses containing key spike mutations from the variants first identified in the U.K. and South Africa. Using blood taken from people who have been vaccinated, they found that while antibodies had neutralized all of the strains tested, it did lose a small bit of effectiveness against 3 mutations from the South African variant. If you're looking to stay on top of the latest vaccine information, get the new VNL Vaccine Tracker. You can access local and national resources in just 2 easy steps. Just open your phone camera and point it at the QR code there on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. Facebook will no longer recommend civic and political groups to users. The company's CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, says the decision is a, quote, continuation to turn down the temperature and discourage divisive conversations. The company temporarily halted political group recommendations to U.S. users back in October prior to the election. Zuckerberg says Facebook is also considering steps to reduce the amount of political content that users see in their news feed. The FBI needs names to put with the faces of 10 men accused of assaulting federal law enforcement officers during the attack on the Capitol. The Bureau is releasing this seeking information poster with hopes the public can help identify the 10. They're accused of illegally entering the Capitol on January 6th and assaulting federal law enforcement personnel. President Biden continues to sign executive orders reversing policies implemented by former President Donald Trump. In a brief Oval Office event today, the president signing 2 executive actions focused on reviving the nation's health care system. The first to strengthen access to the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid amid the pandemic, which includes the reopening of insurance enrollment through federal marketplaces. The second is aimed at protecting and expanding access to comprehensive reproductive health care. NASA's Day of Remembrance ceremony for 3 fallen astronaut crews was held at Florida's Kennedy Space Center today. Honored at the service were the crews of Apollo 1, the Space Shuttle Columbia, and the Space Shuttle Challenger. The event, which was scaled down due to the pandemic, included the reading of the names, a wreath laying, and a moment of silence. Today marks 35 years since the Challenger explosion. In 1986, the shuttle broke apart 73 seconds into the flight. 7 crew members were killed. The fight over Minnesota's election laws is heating up. Lawmakers are trying to decide whether Minnesota should tighten its election laws or make voting easier. A key Senate panel yesterday backed a Republican proposal to require voters to present photo ID. Supporters say it's aimed more at increasing voter confidence in results than at preventing fraud. But opponents say an ID requirement could disenfranchise hundreds of thousands of eligible voters. Sanford Health is partnering with Valley News Live and local radio stations to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. Last year, the Radiothon raised more than $160,000, and they're on track to raise even more this year. 100% of the money stays local and will help children throughout North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Donations will pay for high-tech medical equipment, support special programs, and help educate those at Sanford. Sanford says the Radiothon makes a huge difference for local children and their families.
These are your kids, and this is your children's hospital. We're seeing kids from all across the state, from Williston to Bagley. You'll hear stories today on the Cares for Kids Radiothon, both today and tomorrow, all the way down to Lemon, South Dakota. So we really have a wide area of territory that we do cover, and kids have to come to Sanford Children's for that specialty care.
If you'd like to donate, you can call the number at the bottom of your screen or head to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. Coming up on Valley News Live at 4, how an online forum is causing some major shakeups on Wall Street.
But next, our temperatures this evening very mild. As we head into the nighttime hours, we're in the teens, and a few flakes are out there as well. We'll have details on snow in your forecast both for this weekend and a major system possible next week. Hour by hour forecast details straight ahead.